When Mattel first debuted the Airtight Blisters in 2022, it was met with some controversy. People weren't really a fan because they just, I don't know, they didn't really look that great on the shelves, and storing them isn't exactly the easiest thing in the world. But what people don't realize is that these actually date back further than 2022. Like, these have been around a lot longer than people think. The Airtight Blister is something that I believe originally started during the Cars 2 mainline. So over 10 years ago, this thing's been around. And basically what the goal of it was just a cheaper and I guess quicker way to make Cars packages for foreign countries, because they were only ever sold in, like, I think it was like Latin America and other countries. Like, they were never sold in North America, right? And so they did them for the Cars 2 mainline, and that was it for a while. They didn't do them for 2013, 2014, 2015, and then they started doing them again in 2016, and they have done them every year since then, only in those foreign countries, however. But in 2020, that's when things changed, and they started doing them in Canada. And that's kind of how these got, like, propelled into, like, the mainstream Cars community in terms of knowledge. So in 2020, Canada just randomly started getting the international Airtight Blister packages for some reason. This is the Cupcake McQueen I have on this packaging, so this would have been 2020 case E, I believe. I know pretty much, I think every other case after this was also made in the Airtight Blister packaging. Like, I know case G with Metallic Jonas Carvers for sure was. But it gets really tricky trying to figure out just how many releases got the Airtight package, because it's not something that many people think about, so trying to find them is difficult, especially, like, on eBay. Like, you can't find these specific ones on eBay. It's very difficult because you have to be specific in your search, and it's just, it's an entire mess, basically. But the Airtight Blisters before, so like these 2020 ones, were pretty straightforward. No name tag, so there was no way to identify the name of the car on the front. You had to flip it over to the back. And what they did here was, it was a black and white background. They didn't show you any other cars in the series, although they did show you what series it was in. And they just told you the name of the car and the stock photo for it in black and white. Now, that's not exactly the prettiest presentation, but it works. It tells you what the name of the car is. It does give you a stock photo, even though it's in black and white. Personally, though, I'm not really a fan of how they did it here. I think they should have done a name tag or something, but, I mean, hey. We clearly weren't the target audience for these. These were being sold elsewhere. So that's Cupcake McQueen. I also have a Silver the King from 2020. So they even did this for the quote-unquote special releases, like the Silver Collection. So they still tell you what series he's in. They still have that little blurb about the Silver Collection. The stylish and speedy blurb. And then, yeah, it tells you the name, although it doesn't say Silver the King. It just says regular King. And the stock photo, again, in black and white. But yeah, I picked up a few of these 2020 Airtight Blisters because this was before they became, like, widespread in 2022. And I thought it'd be fun to have a couple in the package. So, unfortunately, not really exciting or notable anymore, but I thought I'd pick them up. And then the fun continued in 2021. So, these are weird because these also showed up in Canada, albeit a year after they came out. So this I found in stores in October of 2022 at Toys R Us, which is also where I found the 2020 ones in 2020. But Toys R Us over the last year has been stocking like the M-Fast Fong case and like the Nick Shift case, but it's the Airtight Blister packages for some reason, and they just keep getting these in. So several 2021 releases are available on this packaging, and they've become kind of desirable for some people because, again, these ones, they're still only sold in Canada and foreign countries. They're not available in the US. The card itself is, but the Airtight Blister is not. So it follows the same pattern as the 2020 version. No name tag on the front, you get the artwork, and just a basic blister. And same deal when you flip it around. You get the name, the stock image, tells you what movie it's from, all in black and white. That's it. But yeah. Now the weird thing about the Airtight blisters is people are having a hard time determining just how many cars from 2021 have the Airtight blister. Because, for example, I've only seen cars from those two cases that I mentioned, but I've never seen a Racing Red in the Airtight blister. And the Racing Reds, there are Racing Reds in those two cases, I believe. So it's kind of led to some questions like, did they even produce Racing Reds in this packaging? Are they even included in the case? Is it like a variant case of some kind? Nobody really seems to have a good answer just yet. My personal theory is that the Racing Red probably is still in the case, but it just has the regular North American packaging. I can't see them doing a variant for that line specifically. They could, it's possible, but I don't know. I'm not really sure that they're going to do that, maybe, but who knows. Maybe in time, like, I don't know, a bunch of these, like, Airtight blisters are gonna pop up on, like, eBay, and we'll have, like, a good understanding, but for now, the assumption is that every car from the main line got released on this packaging, but that's kind of up in the air. So then 2022 rolls around and we get this new packaging. And as I mentioned in the start of the video, people are just not really a fan of it. I kind of like it. It was a little weird at first, but they took the steps to incorporate elements from the original Airtight blisters, but make them work better. So they've kept the name tag, but this time it's now a part of the card itself. It's not like a separate piece that comes in the blister. It's just printed on the card. So you get the name tag on the front, and you have the Airtight blister, of course. And on the back, they've printed the back in color, and you get to see other cars in the series. So it still feels like a traditional package while being an Airtight blister, which I think is fantastic. The reason why they switched to this packaging is because Mattel actually has this initiative to try and cut back, I think it's like 25% of plastic in all of their packages, or even, I think it's like even in all of their products by 2030. And so this packaging is kind of a step towards that. Now, the counterpoint I've seen people bring up to that is, well, they're reducing the plastic in the blister and they're making it look kind of ugly and not hard to store. And then they're going and doing like the Racing 2-packs that have a bunch of plastic pieces in them. So it's not really doing anything, or at least that's the argument. My counter argument to that is this is plastic that you are going to throw away when you're done. Compared to the plastic in the Racing 2-pack accessories, you're probably going to keep those. Because, here's the thing, I did a mega unboxing last year, or not last year, it would have been earlier this year, still, depending on when this video is going up, and the amount of plastic from just like, I think it was like 30 cars, was absurd, and I even pointed out in the video. It's a lot. Like, you don't notice it when you're just buying cars and opening them one by one, like one every couple days because it's just one blister. But when you like save them and then open them all at once, you see just how much plastic it actually is. So I think switching to the Airtight Blister helps. It definitely helps. It does have some issues though. Cars like Matthew True Crew or Dash Boardman, small cars with accessories basically, their accessories have gotten bent in these packages, and bending them back to normal is impossible. My Matthew True Crew's flag is like permanently bent, which really sucks. But, you know, it's like a small little thing, like, yeah, that's annoying, but it's kind of just something we now have to live with. And the Airtight Blisters, they're here to stay. We've seen the 2023 packaging. We know that they're keeping this background too and everything, but the Airtight Blister for sure is staying. And they've applied it to a lot of stuff. They put it on the 2-packs. The mini racers are now moving towards Airtight Blisters. The racing 2-packs even have Airtight Blisters. The only line that didn't have it was Deluxes, and they're not really doing Deluxes anymore, so they don't have to worry about that either. But yeah, all in all, I like the Airtight Blisters. I think they have a very interesting history. Like, I don't even know how many people have seen, like, those Cars 2 era Airtight Blisters, because, like, I didn't even know that those were a thing. Even, like, the 2016 and 17 ones. Like, I think this is a very interesting part of, like, the packaged cars collecting world. And while it's not something that I kind of want to explore, it is something that I think should be chronicled in some capacity, because I don't know, like, I love chronicling cars history, and this is absolutely something that I think is worth talking about because it's a very interesting part of the packaged world. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my talk on Airtight Blisters. I will see you all next time for another episode. Bye.